Family, what's up? We want you to join us in celebrating Juneteenth. We're bringing together people of all backgrounds for a powerful day of unity, culture, music, food, and inspiration. We'll be at the Tucson Keno Sports Complex, 2500 East Ajo Way. Join us from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m.
This is a free event. If you're in Tucson, come on out and just have some fun with all of us. John and I will be at our table with our amazing son-in-law, DeAndre. We will be selling our books, The Balanced Life, The Unraveling Journal, and the Healthy Relationship Workbook. We will be joined with our son-in-law, DeAndre, selling his 100% all-natural, delicious juices that he makes, and his company is called Very Well. John and I will also be selling some tinctures from the Desert Alchemist. If you've heard Hernan Castro on our podcast before and the amazing qualities that these tinctures have, come out and see us, come talk to us. We'd love to share with you. We will be selling 3 of those tinctures, so come on out and check us out at our table. We'd love to see you.
What's up, family? Welcome to the Bacon Bits Podcast, where we desire for you to take the bits of information and immediately apply them to your life for success. Yes, I'm about to be off script. Why is that? Because I'm on the podcast with the woman that makes me feel so creative and so just exhilarating. I love her. I adore her. She's the one and only, my queen, Diana Acosta-Bacon. My sweetness.
Good looking.
What you got cooking? What you say?
How's about cooking something up with me?
Okay, hopefully we don't have to have that. Okay, tag marketed. Okay.
Oh.
We had a moment. All right, how you doing, baby?
I'm doing good, my sweet baby.
Sweet.
Beautiful day.
It is. It's gorgeous outside.
Chilling
man.
with my baby.
Okay. So good to be here. Family, we're gonna be talking. We're gonna have a series coming right here. 4-part series.
Oh.
Yeah.
These are serious comment.
4-part series on the seasons of life.
Yes.
And fam, you know, we always talk about, you know, spring, summer, winter, fall, or autumn, or however you want to call it. And we have different seasons in our lives. It's not like you live one life and you only get the 4 seasons. You're going to be constantly going through seasons back and forth, and it's always not going to be spring, summer, winter, fall. I don't think it's an order. Sometimes you can go from one season to another season that seems like it's totally different. But family, we are seasonal people. And so sometimes we have to think about, you know, what season am I in at this moment when we need to slow down and rest. And we just happen to be talking about starting off the winter season.
Yes. So life is cyclical,
yes,
meaning
it
there's a rhythm.
Yeah.
There's a, I don't know, it's just a beautiful rhythm. And I think not that men don't correlate with this or relate to this or understand this or feel this, but women totally resonate with this because we have cycles. There's cycles. Our whole body is run by cycle. Our body is run by the rhythms of our cycle, by the moon. We're affected by it. That's how we are able to keep track of our cycles. Go to the doctors, the first thing they say is, when was your last period?
Right.
Like everything, they have a base of how is your rhythm? How is your cycles? Where are you landing? Where are you? So we learn at a very young age to recognize and to feel our body as it goes through the cycle. What day I'm in, what day am I coming out, am I ovulating? Like there's a whole rhythm to us, but in nature, absolutely everything has a rhythm.
Yes.
And I am one that's always been very just immersed. I've always loved the thought of nature, the thought of everything God created. And the reality is people think, you know, maybe it's a little too woo-woo. Maybe it's a little too woo-woo to think about this. But I want to begin that God created humans and placed us in a garden.
Yes.
What is that suggesting, people? Like, what does that suggest? It suggests that we're designed to live and interact with nature. It's where we experience and connect with God. It's where we connect with ourselves, and it's where we feel renewed in our spirit for the most part. John Muir, oh my gosh, he really is famous for maybe saying a lot of quotes and talking a lot about nature. And one of the greatest things, I know that he had said at one talk, he said that he experiences going into nature is like going to church. He experiences more of God in nature, in the forest, than he ever has in a building.
Yeah.
And one of his quotes I like, it says, "Oh, these vast, calm, measureless mountains, days in whose light everything seems equally divine, opening 1,000 windows to show us God."
Yeah.
So from the sun to the moon, from the stars to the clouds, from glaciers, wind and flowers and trees and oceans and mountains, God's communicating with us through nature.
Yes,
He's always communicating to us, and nature speaks to us the character and the attributes of God.
Yeah.
So my baby's going to look up a verse so he can read it to you. God is always communicating to us.
Yes, he is.
Go to Romans 1:20. If we're willing to slow down enough to listen. I forgot who quoted this, but it says, nature has a song for those who listen. Nature has lessons for us all the time. And I'm sure my baby's going to bring up Ecclesiastes later and talking about the seasons. But we're going to start with winter. But tell me what Romans 1:20 says.
And this is coming from the New Living Translation for those who are looking this up. "For ever since the world was created, people have seen the earth and sky. Through everything God made, they can clearly see his invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature. So they have no excuse for not knowing God."
If you know a tree, you know God. If you know, so when people say you're too woo-woo, you're too out there, send them to that verse and say, okay, well, I know God in a tree, and I've experienced God more honestly for myself than I have sitting under a tree than I have in many buildings. And that's just my truth is being in nature connects me.
Right. Oh, for sure.
Connects me more.
Yeah, I think, at least as I'm feeling like this, I won't put this all on aging like a fine wine people, senior citizens, but I'm not in that category. I'm just aging. I really enjoy being outside, man. First thing in the morning, we got a beautiful patio, and I love getting a cup of coffee, going out there, reading my word, and just listening to the birds, looking at the beautiful mountains we just happen to be positioned in, looking at the trees, the shrubs, looking at the cactuses. I'm just like, man, this is just such a beautiful space to be in. And to know that, man, even in this, and as we're talking about the winter season, knowing that, man, we should slow down and really pay attention to life around us. I know we in this hurry, hustle and bustle world, and we need to slow down. Even as I'm trying to really work on slowing down, me talking so fast, is to know that, man, we're supposed to rest. This whole grind and hustle thing, I'm like, man, that's beautiful, and it has its season out of the 4 seasons. But man, we need to really pay attention to those seasons when stuff is not happening off, because winter is supposed to be a season of rest and introspection. And how many of us slow down enough to rest and have some introspection? Well,
I think this goes back to, one of the podcasts that we talked about. I think it was the pain podcast. I could be wrong. But when you're saying hustle, we got to change the definition of what that looks like, because hustle might mean something very different to one person, and depending on what season, you can be hustling in one season, but hustling to learn how to rest and how to care for yourself in a different way. Hustle, in my mind, is very different than what it means in your mind.
Right.
So it's very different. So let's get to the season. Today we're going to talk about winter.
Yes.
Winter. I am a winter baby. I was born in January. I am a winter baby, so I tend to be very reflective. I'm gloomy. I'm very melancholy, and I'm always preparing myself for the energy it's going to take for my next. So when I'm in the moment, I tend to empty myself, usually to my own fault, because as most of us know, we are resilient, even if we're sick and tired of being resilient. But I love me a gloomy day. I'm a winter baby. I tend to be melancholy. I tend to everything that brings winter, that aridness. I was born into that. John is a summer baby. John
yes,
always is full of joy and enjoying the fruits of his labor. He loves to have fun. He relishes in his vacation time. Not that I don't, but I'm reflective in my time.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that, so I can just separate and be that. But he's not too interested in the cold, dark, and gloomy seasons like me. I love those deep things that those feelings and those thoughts. Each season and each stage of life has a purpose and has a meaning.
Sure does.
So by embracing them, we can find a greater purpose and meaning in our overall journey of this fabulous, terrible, joy-filled, and painfully colorful life. Winter, a time of rest and renewal. So winter can feel cold and barren, but spiritually, it's a time for rest.
Yeah.
It's a time of solitude, of deep introspection. It's a season of renewal where we are called to slow down and reconnect with our inner selves, to find strength in stillness. So there's that hustle. Hustle to be still. Like you have to be so intentional to be still.
Yes,
and for a lot of us, we tend to ruminate on the things that we need to do. We have our checklist. We have our responsibilities. We have the things that we have to accomplish. We have a work day. We have children. We have family. We have, oh my God, what am I going to make for dinner? It's hard to be still. So that's where that hustle mentality would set in place here, where how can I minimize the things I have to do so I can be still and have my moment of stillness. Winter is supposed to teach us that even in times that things seem dead and empty, it's preparing us for the future growth and for future transformation.
Yeah. I think we don't say enough about that, because even though nothing on the surface is growing, I believe it's a lot going on up under the surface. And that's part of, to me, like when we just quit looking at what's going on in our visible world sometimes and slowing down and be like, let's reflect and talk to God and see what's the current plan of what's going on. Because, like I said, growth seems to be halting, but we're always growing in one dynamic or another. You think about it, some animals hibernate. I mean, and it should be a season sometime when you just go away from everything and everybody and hibernate and just enjoy being still for a moment. Like I said, I ain't talking about just checking out, but guess what, slowing down to next. Let's do some reflecting on what do I need to do in this season right here, because we're encouraged to rest. Now, the sad part is, fam, I do believe this. Sometimes if you don't initially go out for rest, life will make you rest, and you ain't gonna be happy with if life makes you rest when you get a chance to pick when you rest. Because God blessed to say 6 days work, but 7 days on the 7th day rest. Fam, we're designed to rest consistently, but sometimes we are in such a hurry to do some stuff that we don't sit down and just really pay attention to what's going on in this season.
Yeah, winter is reflective.
Yeah.
It makes me like visualize like that cold, gloomy, standing at the side of a lake where it just reflects the clouds and the sky, and just a beautiful scene. But things may be appearing dead, but what they're really doing, babe, is they're resting and they're recovering. It's a recovery time for all the other seasons in our life that completely sapped us of all our energy. It's hard to bloom. If anyone has plants or flowers, you have to go out and you have to prune, you have to weed, because it's the energy it takes for a plant to bloom a flower. It's pushing all the energy out. So you got to cut out the dead stuff. You got to prune the plant back. You got to prune it back so the energy is reserved for more blossoms. You got to prune. You got to pull the lemons off a tree, or over time it's going to stop producing more lemons. It takes pruning. It takes weeding things out, and it takes recovery. It takes recovery. There's a reason when you go to the supermarket and you're looking for a nice juicy peach, but it's not the season. And you might find them, but they're not going to be so good. You might find a watermelon out of season, but they're not going to be too good. They taste weird and mushy because they're GMOs or something, but you can't expect to force something out of its nature and it be the same.
Right.
It's not. Everything in nature. This is teaching us. We were born. Humans were created in a garden and left in a garden. Yeah. What does that even invoke in you? Like, we're supposed to spend more time like learning from what it's teaching us, right?
Yeah.
So it is a crucial time for recovering and recharging and preparing for the next season of our life. It's, some winters are so much harsher. John and I both moved here, babe. I love New York. I love my hometown. You love your hometown in Michigan, but those are some harsh ass winters.
Yes, they are.
Those are really harsh winters. But you know what harsh winters teach us? They teach us how to be resilient.
Mm-hmm. They sure do.
They strengthen us. Yeah. Just like the trees. I'd like to keep certain plants outside if I could. But these trees, how do you think they're so strong? Because the wind blows.
Yeah.
They learn their roots learn how to lock into the soil, and they're intertwined with each other, with one another, teaching us above ground, we should be intertwined with one another. So if one falls, they don't fall because we're supposed to be there to hold each other up, right? But season also brings heartbreak. Yeah, it brings loneliness. It brings sickness. It brings seasonal depression. Is a real thing.
Yes, it is.
It's a real thing.
Yeah, because it's shorter days. You get less sun, and this is also where it should be a season of we deepen community bonds. It really should be. I think about, man, like in the winters, it used to be so beautiful to be in the house and you got the fireplace lit, you got a cup of coffee, and you just sitting there and looking at the flames, and you just doing some inner reflection, some inner focus, man. And it's beautiful if you utilize the season for what it was meant to be.
Yeah, but we don't want to minimize seasonal affective disorder. It's called SAD, and there's a reason for it. It significantly impacts our life. So it influences our mood, the dark days, the gloominess influences our mood, our sleep patterns are influenced, our energy levels change, even our cognitive functions. And when some people experience SAD, seasonal affective disorder, it also affects, and tell me I'm wrong, because I know I'm not. When we're in wintertime, it changes what we eat and how we eat.
Oh, yes, it sure does.
And our social interactions. For some people, it's exciting time because they get to see more family, because it's wintertime is Hanukkah and Christmas and Kwanzaa, and a lot of time people go and visit each other, and the New Year's coming, and it's just a time. It's also like at the end of fall would be like Thanksgiving. It's a time where people come together traditionally. Around season. So that can influence our moods and our behaviors. Some people are excited. Some people are dreading it. Yeah. We eat differently because for whatever reason, we start packing on even eating a lot of sugars and a lot of like heavy, sticky, stick to your ribs kind of food, which we love, but it's not good for us.
Right.
And of course, that in turn affects our mood. It affects our cognitive thinking because we're not eating healthy. It changes everything about us.
Yeah, it makes you really think, and to be like I said, to truly be cognitive of that knowing that okay, I'm eating a little bit more, of the stuff that I should not be eating, and so am I in my feelings, during this season? Like you said, some people are excited about seeing their family, and some people it's just like, oh my God, we got to do this again, and I wish it was never like that, but for some people it is, so you have to go into it knowing if I'm like this in this season, and when these seasons come up, let me mentally prepare myself. That's where the inner focus comes in. That's where the resting and preparing myself for what we're about to get into. But man, that winter season it can be challenging because, like I said, it's usually you don't see a lot of growth or a lot of action taking place, and it feels like you're just going through the motions. But it's just not you going through the motions. It's to prepare you for something that's exciting that's coming up. But we need to be prepared for it because, fam, a lot of people this always goes back to people be praying for it, blessings after blessings after blessings. And I ain't mad at you praying for blessings. But also at the same time, are you prepared to manage the blessing when it comes? That's big. You got to be able to manage it because we will blow it if we don't prepare to be able to handle it. Because I always just think about some of those things like, people that win the lottery, Man, they'll win these millions and millions of dollars, and within 5 years, all the money is gone. And I'm like, how in the world can you mismatch mismanaged millions of dollars. And it's because you got family members that come out the woodworks. You got old friends, high school classmates. You got all kind of people coming out the woodworks. And you be like, and because if we don't have a season of, let me manage, putting some money aside for the kids' college fund, let me put some aside for my retirement, all those different things, fam, that money will be blown through quickly because we didn't have a system. We didn't have something preparing for us for when we get those blessings. And that's the cool part about the winter seasons, where you slow yourself down and say, okay, I'm going to pray for this thing. I'm about to pray for it. But am I able to be able to manage it also at the same time?
And I'd like to add to that, it's more a matter of we lose our money, not necessarily because people come out of the woodworks, but because we haven't learned to navigate through our own boundaries.
Yeah.
And
sure.
we haven't learned to navigate through people pleasing, and we haven't learned to navigate through what is need versus want. And we haven't learned to accept what it feels like to live in a body, in a life that is financially abundant, because we have a mindset that says it's not for me. Like we have that, what do you call that again? That imposter syndrome, like, not me, I can't believe this is my money. So we don't manage it well because of all those things, because we haven't done the work internally to understand who we are and be able to stand in that and be comfortable in our own skin. So winter time begins our time of rest, renewal, restoration, and really just healing. Just heal it.
Yeah.
If you ever see roses when you prune back, if you've ever had roses, or just look up how to prune a rose, they prune them till they look literally dead, like all the way to the stump. They're just a stump.
It's crazy.
And they just look dead. And a lot of things with bulbs, some certain plants, you got to take the whole bulb out.
Yeah.
Some of them, you put them in a dark, cold area. They look dead. They look like they're trash. You just got to let it rest. You got to let it just restore itself.
Yeah.
And then when it comes time for spring, it'll be time to plant them again and nourish them again and expose them once again to the sun. But we have to understand that life is a cycle. And there are times of growth, of harvest, of letting go, and rest. Each phase is going to contribute to the unfolding of our spiritual path, babe. And it deepens our connection with ourselves and with God. These changing seasons can and will teach us about grief, about death, about loss, while reminding us that these are all natural parts of life, and that a new life can and will emerge from it.
Yeah. And I want to add one more into that. It's a great time to reflect and to learn how to be content with what you have in life, because sometimes we really don't appreciate what we have in these seasons. So sometimes we are so much on the go that, we're so happy with the destination, fam, we're forgetting the journey. So, man, do me a favor, slow down and really pay attention to say, you know what, I have a lot to be grateful for and to be content. Not that we are not always striving, just for a little bit more, a little bit better, but knowing, don't forget to be thankful in what you do have, because sometimes life you can get depressed, like I said, in this season, because guess what? I'm looking at what I don't have, when in all actuality, we be forgetting what we do have and to be appreciative of what we still have.
Okay, so instead of ruha-ing through this season and bullying yourself through the season, because let's be honest, we bully ourselves. We're the worst bully when it comes to us. We're the meanest person to us. Instead of ruha-ing your way through, identify it. What season am I in? Accept the change. Accept the season you're in.
Yes.
Embrace the season you're in, and then reflect on the blessings and the lessons in the next step of what is needed in this moment.
Yes.
If it's winter, restore, rest.
That's it. Fam, it's been a blessing being on here with my queen once again. Fam, it's winter season in your life sometime. Don't rush it. Just sit in it and contemplate what you have and what you need to do. Prepare yourself. This is your boy John Bacon with another segment of Bacon Bits. We love you guys. God bless. What up, fam? Do you need some extra tools that's going to help your life be the best that it can possibly be? Are you constantly juggling work, family, and personal time only to feel drained and unfulfilled? That's where the book that I wrote called The Balanced Life can be your guide to reclaiming your time, energy, and happiness with practical strategies for setting boundaries, prioritizing self-care, and achieving real balance. This book helps you create a life that you love without the burnout. Get ready to break free from the chaos and step into a life of purpose and peace. Grab your copy of The Balanced Life because you deserve a life that works for you. Also, we have The Unraveling. It's a journal to help you write, reflect, and heal. Your thoughts matter. Your feelings deserve space. The Unraveling Journal is more than just a notebook. It's your personal guide to self-reflection, healing, and growth. With guided prompts, mindfulness exercises, and room to express yourself freely, this journal helps you untangle emotions, process life's challenges, and rediscover clarity. Take a moment for you. Write, reflect, and heal, one page at a time. And fam, also another book written by my wife is Healthy Relationships. Because fam, you know this, great relationships don't just happen, they're built. Whether it's with your partner, kids, friends, or co-workers, strong connections are the foundation of a happy life. In healthy relationships, you'll learn how to communicate better, set healthy boundaries, and nurture trust in every relationship that matters to you. Because when your connections thrive, you thrive. Start building stronger, healthier relationships today. Order your copy at kingdomservantsfirst.com. Once again, that's kingdomservants1st.com. Fam, we want you to be the best version of yourself. Get one of these books today. God bless.